Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Allison Sports Podcast Series. I'm Shane Wynn, joined by my colleague Shane Arman. How you doing today, Shane?
Awesome.
Cool. It is NFL Week 1. It starts later on today, and we are joined by two NFL insiders in a lot of different ways. I have Alexy Posner with us, who is the founder of AP Brand Group. How you doing, Alexy?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we've got Dave Riggs, who is the Senior Vice President of Football Marketing for VaynerSports. How's it going, Dave?
Doing well.
Awesome, my friends. Well, like I said, it's week 1 of the NFL. And what we're not here to talk about right now is what that season is going to look like. What we are here to talk about is the athletes that are involved in the NFL. And both of you are here because you represent athletes and you are masters as it relates to helping them build personal brands. And I want to get us started by, kind of setting the stage here. If you think about NFL athletes, of the entire spectrum of athletes that are on the active rosters right now, there's a really small handful that are at that point where deals are just coming at them, right? And the agent's there to answer the phone and yes, no, maybe, let's talk, et cetera. For the vast majority of these athletes, they need agents to help them shape and mold their own personal brands to get them to places where they can do things that are meaningful to them, make them money, help them grow professionally. And both of you have been in that business for a long time. And Alexy, I'm going to start with you. Talk a little bit about, because you handle some NFL athletes. Talk a little bit about what it means when you're establishing a relationship with an NFL athlete. And you're talking about what AP and Brand Group can do for them.
Yeah. So I started my agency 7 years ago with the mission I wanted to work with athletes and talent who are excited to use their platform to create positive social change. So for me, all of my clients, we always connect immediately on what do they want to do in the community? What are they passionate about outside of football? How do they want to actually change the world? How do they, they all have a understanding that they've been given a gift, whether you believe in God, the universe, whatever that is, but they've been given a gift and given a platform. And so let's now use that. So that's normally where these relationships start. I've been so lucky that everyone I have on my roster, as you want to call it, has just been really authentic. I've met them along the way. I've met them on the set of American Ninja Warriors, where I got my first ever NFL client, Mac Hollins. He made fun of the shoes I was wearing, and I chirped right back at him. And now 6.5 years later, we're still working together. But that's really where it started from, is what do they care about outside of football? And then, we build a whole brand around that.
Dave, you've got over 100 NFL athletes on the roster at Vayner, so you've probably got a huge spectrum of talent to work with. How do you guys go about making decisions on who to bring on?
Well, obviously there's the on-field component that's important, but for us at VaynerSports, the building a brand digitally is extremely important. I've been at agencies that have been around for 30 plus years. I've been at agencies that are Hollywood sports agencies. And for us, it's really having that mix between on-field performance and also social and digital, just acumen. So that's a big part of it. But then we really try to be strategic in terms of getting to know who they are, have them fill out a marketing questionnaire, building plans based on their personalities, whether it's local, regional, national, and really taking a strategic approach and not having it be logo soup for them. It's really where people externally and consumers are like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And so I want to narrow in on that a minute. Alexy, you mentioned Akbar, one of your clients, who I know is a former NFL player. And Dave, I know I believe the Vayner roster has some rookies on the roster. So I want to talk about rookies and legends for a second, because when you're established in your career in the NFL, right, there seems to be more active opportunities, more relevance. But when you're just starting out as a rookie, there's probably some challenges. And likewise, once you finish your career, there may also be challenges from just building those brand relationships. So maybe we'll start with you, Alexy, and you could give us some insight there.
Yeah, I mean, I tell guys this all the time, right? Like the phone, people will pick up that phone if you're an active player the second you're done playing, and those phone calls are not answered as quickly. Akbar is an absolute anomaly. Akbar Bajbiamila, who, for those who don't know, he hosts American Ninja Warrior. He hosts The Talk on CBS. He's got a new show on Roku and CW called Fight to Survive. Ak only played for 5 seasons and barely played those 5 seasons and has gone on to have a massive career, along with like the Michael Strahans and the Nate Burlesons of the world. So he's sort of an anomaly in that mix because, if you're a Hall of Famer, if you're one of these like, multi-time Pro Bowl guys, like you're going to have an easier time getting that post-career opportunities. But for me, for all of our current players, I always start by being like, hey guys, like now is the time. I totally understand. I was a former professional athlete myself. And so I understand the want to like just focus on football, but we've got to build stuff outside of that so that when your playing career is done, you're excited to step into that next life, not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm this like lost soup and I have no idea what to do. So, that starts with passion and purpose. And I started this conversation talking about the community relations piece. And then from that, we're able to build out, the brand from there. And who are those brand partners? As Dave said, we never go for the logo, the logo mashup all over the place. It's really what makes strategic sense. And then how do we dig 100-foot hole instead of 101-foot holes, and create something that when they are done playing, they can be like an Akbar, can be a Michael Strahan, because they've got these great relationships and a very clear brand as to who they are and how they want to show up and, what they want to do.
Dave, what about you? What's your point of view on rookies or legends, if you want to call them that?
Rookies, obviously, that's the time to get to know them, find out what they want to do. Rookies are a lot more eager to do opportunities than active players. Once you establish yourself on the field, you're just less likely to do as much as a rookie. And then once you retire, the same at Alexy's point, the phone isn't as picked up as frequently on the other side. And so it's really finding from a retired player standpoint, again, what's the next stage of their career? What are they looking to do, as opposed to, hey, I want to do an autograph signing and trading card deal and things like that. It's really, look at Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner, undrafted free agent, established himself, is a Hall of Famer, and now is at the next level on NFL Network. And so it's those types of things where you have to really work hard to build their brand. So once their career ends, which could be, the average career for NFL running backs, 2.5 years. And so it could end like that. And so you have to prepare them for the next stage, because, you can only, it's very infrequently a player lasts in the league for 15 to 20 years where they can just kind of rely on that.
It's funny with the retired players, because like on one hand, for them, it may be harder to get attention. Armin and I work with brands that need talent during the NFL season, right? And so sometimes those retired players are actually the ones we're most looking for, because their schedules are flexible, right? Like a current NFL athlete, typically Tuesday. Like Tuesday is the day, right? That's the day that you can work with an NFL athlete during the regular season, whereas some of these retired athletes, really any day of the week is going to be fair game for them.
I think that just goes back though to like the point that Dave said, is like, it's not the ones that you're going to be looking for are the ones that did either have spent the time while they were playing or as soon as they were done playing to actually create a brand and know who they are, know what emotions they want to evoke from their consumers. Like, it's not just somebody who's like, hey, that guy played for 10 years or that guy played for 5 years and he's going to sign and it's a retired guy. Like, the ones you guys are looking at are the ones that actually kind of know who they are, right? And like manifest that on all consumer touch points. So
yeah, no, that's a really good point. And like Dave, I'm thinking about what you said earlier about how, Vayner focuses so much on the social and digital space. That is so much the arena now for the personal brand building, and, Alexy, you mentioned Mac Hollins earlier, like, that to us, that's a great example of a guy that just is really, he's clearly a partner of yours, but has kind of taken it and run with it. And I suppose not every athlete that you work with has that level of acumen, but it's got to be awesome to work with that.
Oh, he's the best. Yeah, he's awesome. He, as soon as we were able to really hone in on what he cares about, which is education, that's been a huge platform of his, even when he played at UNC. But then, and he was always like, oh, cool, education. But then it was like, okay, so now how do we actually convert that to something that could be consumable by consumers? And now he's just run with it. And his social is so fun, and it's full of his personality, full of his energy. And he's got his series Fast Facts Friday, which he edits himself every single week. He comes up with it. I mean, that was an original idea the two of us came up with, and I kind of stopped producing it after about 6 months in. He's like 2.5 years in later. My job now is just to find the brands. Wow. So if there's any brands that would like to be a part of it, my job is now just to find brand sponsors for it. But
that's a good plug. From a channel standpoint, how do you guys approach making decisions on which social platforms are the right ones for the right athletes? Like, do you try to go omnichannel for everybody? Like, what's the science behind that? Or is there a science behind it?
I mean, TikTok and Instagram are the big ones right now. And, people are like, well, if TikTok goes away, what happens to the followers? The followers will follow you whatever platform you're on. For me, I like cross-channel. Honestly, I don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because each channel is different and reaches people differently. Instagram is more, hey, it's images, and TikTok's the content, the short form content. Twitter is just, hey, which color shoe should I wear today? So, although that's my Twitter, sorry. But so it really depends, but to each of them, it allows them to really amplify their brand and their personalities. I mean, we have one client who was an undrafted free agent, was a backup tight end last year, and the guy has close to 3 million followers on TikTok, and he's done more deals than a lot of our clients, and he doesn't have the same playing time as a lot of the clients, but he's really built a brand for himself on TikTok.
Wow. Very impressive. So since we're talking about the guts of these deals, I would love to hear from each of you an interesting deal that you've done in sort of an analysis or a case study of sort of how that deal came together and what the result of it was. So, Alexy, why don't we kick it back over to you?
Oh, gosh. I feel like, Dave, I know, has one queued up, but no, I
had to give you first. I had to give you the first opportunity.
I appreciate it. No, I think oh my gosh, there's been so many fun ones over the years. One of my favorite deals, honestly, was getting Akbar the job on The Talk. That was something so Akbar is my first ever client. I started with him as his social media manager at like $300 a month, and, just basically scrap my way up with him. But now 7 years later, he's the OG. So when I first started working with Akbar back in 2016, I had asked him, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And he said, I want to do what Michael Strahan's doing. I want, a talk show. I could be on Michael and Kelly. I want that. And I was like, okay, got it. So that is our North Star. And we are going to figure out what are all those moves from now until you get that we need to make. And in 2021, he's now going into his third season on The Talk. 2021, yeah. He got that job, and so it was just kind of puppeteering. He was able to go. I got him a role on the Today Show to cover the Olympics for 2 weeks. So it was just showing him in this different way. And then that opportunity came up with The Talk, and I heard about it, and I was like, "Yo, you're getting in there, and I don't care if you're doing it for free for the first month. We're going to prove to them that you can get this job, and this job is yours." And so that deal was definitely probably the most exciting deal that I've ever done, just because, he called when the deal was done with CBS and everything was signed. I called him, and we're crying on the phone, and now entering into his third season with The Talk, it's pretty cool. So that one's probably my
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. The broadcast deals are so huge right now for guys coming in the moonlight of their careers. Dave, I know you've got a really good one you kind of hinted at before, but tell us the full details of what you're
I'm going to actually switch it up for something else because.
All right.
See? Full of surprises.
Curveball.
So I represented Rashard Mendenhall, who was a first-round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he was the third running back selected. And, with most running backs, the Nikes, the Under Armours, all those shoe companies were going after you. And so Rashard was different. He wrote poetry, wrote music, was very deep. His mom is a reverend. And so I wanted to look at something different. And so I had reached out to Champion Athletic Wear, who in their 100 or at that point 90 years in existence had never had an athlete endorser ever.
Wow.
And they're like, we're not about the on-field, we're about lifestyle. And so met with them in Winston-Salem and basically shared everything about Rashard to say he's not your typical running back. He's really good on field, but he's so much more and deep. And so long story short, I believe to this day, it's been 100 plus years, he's still the only athlete endorser in their history. And, I really wanted to find an alignment with a brand that fit with who he was and is as a person.
Yeah, that's super impressive. I mean, for a big company like that to be the only one. So thanks for sharing, Dave.
Well, they were very specific though, right? Like, don't want the on field, we need the lifestyle, and you sold them on the lifestyle, and there it is. All right, so I'm gonna close this out, and we are going to talk for a second about NFL. Here's what I want to hear from each of you. What do you want to see happen this NFL season, and what's actually going to happen this NFL season? Dave, I'm starting with you, man. You got the full roster.
I want all my clients to do really well. That helps me. So that's what I would like to see happen, honestly.
You couldn't quite possibly say that not all of your clients are going to have success, because that's kind of where that was going, Dave, right?
I would love for all of them to have success.
Company line.
Dave's got his arm test.
Yes, I love my clients equally, and I want them all to do very well.
This aspirational view of the 2023 NFL season is brought to you by Dave Riggs.
Glass half full, man.
All right, Alexy, what do you think?
Well, so I'm in a little bit of a different predicament than Dave. I only have 6 NFL clients. So I'm a boutique agency. He's one of the big boys. And I know he's got well over 100. I, though, am going to answer as an actual sports fan, which is go Birds. We will be back in the Super Bowl this year. Okay. I do have one guy that plays for the Cowboys, and I swore I would never represent an athlete on the Cowboys. And I have one there.
Well, it says a lot about him if you brought him on, right?
You know what? He is the best. Brandon Cooks is the best of the best of the best. He is an incredible, incredible person off the field. I was lucky enough to help him host a 500 kid camp. He does so much for the community and is one of the most awesome, dope humans around. So.
All right, Alexy, Dave, welcome to the 2023 NFL season. Good luck to all of your athletes. I don't think it's going to work out, Dave, for every one of your athletes, but I do wish them all good luck. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks everybody else for joining us for another of the Allison Sports Podcast series. Have a great day, and let's go NFL.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.